Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's Midlands Today from the BBC. Tonight, the ugly side of World Cup fever. As it's predicted, England matches will spark a big rise in domestic violence. Nick.
Astonishingly, figures from the Home Office show domestic abuse goes up by nearly 30% on England match days. Nearly a third of those attacking someone at home have been drinking. So to raise awareness and hopefully cut the number of incidents, Staffordshire Police are targeting young men with a film on the internet.
Well, it was offside, man. It was offside, wasn't it? Come on, Red. Use your eyes, use your eyes. That was a foul! Come on, Red. Give him a red card. Get up! That's all back to me!
Well, Laura May McMullen has been to meet one woman, a survivor of domestic violence, to hear her story. We've changed her voice to protect her identity.
He was a heavy drinker, a very heavy drinker. The last World Cup, he was insistent that matches were watched in the pub because of the big screen and the atmosphere. I used to hope England would win because of what mood he was going to be in.
Mary, which is not her real name, is a survivor of domestic violence. She suffered nearly 10 years of abuse before finally breaking the cycle.
It got to the stage where I was extremely fearful for my life. It started off with small things, pushing and shoving, then hitting. Black eyes, bleeding nose, cracked ribs. Over the years, it just got worse and worse.
She's been supported by the Pathway Project, which helps more than 2,000 people every year across South Staffordshire.
On our helpline before the World Cup in 2006, we had on average around 3 phone calls a day asking for advice or assistance. And during the World Cup season, we actually saw that increase to an average of 5 phone calls a day.
Can I give you one of those?
Authorities are so concerned a new Red Card campaign has been launched in Tamworth. They've been touring pubs and clubs to try and raise awareness. They say drinking is the major factor.
We want you to enjoy yourself, we want you to enjoy the football, but please don't let it turn into violence. Make sure that your partners, the people that you love, your children don't get hurt as a result of the football.
Alcohol leads to a lot of stuff, doesn't it, such as violence like that, you know. People don't know what they're doing.
It's probably the best place to make people aware of it.
It's good to put in people's minds before they actually go out drinking, before they go home, to think about their actions.
Home Office figures show that 1 incident of domestic violence is reported to the police every minute. And from a number of campaigns during the last World Cup, local authorities recognise they need to highlight the problem. In the 5 days that England played, nearly 3,000 incidents were recorded. That's an increase of 31%.
They're never going to change. You can give them all the chances you want to. My life is so much better without him. So much happier. And if you can get out, get out.
Mary was lucky and managed to get out of an abusive relationship. Her message, along with campaigners, is to let women know they're not alone and help and support is out there. Laura May McMullen, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, to prove there is help out there, we're joined now by Paula Hardings from the Safer Birmingham Partnership. Thanks for coming in, Paula. Those statistics about the increase in violence during the World Cup match involving England, those statistics are shocking. But do you think that film will help at all?
Well, I wonder about the film because I think what it does, or what it fails to do to some degree, is tell us what the relationship between alcohol and domestic abuse really is. I think a lot of perpetrators, that minority of men that are violent, will often use alcohol as an excuse for their violent behaviour. And I think we need to be very clear about the messages that we're giving, particularly to victims, and the messages which are through all of our organisations and how we respond, is that we don't accept any excuses for domestic abuse.
First of all, are you actually shocked by those figures?
I'm not shocked by it, but I wonder what's going on because only about 24 to 28% of domestic violence incidents are actually reported to the police. And so we've been looking at to see what's going on at times like the World Cup and other sporting events to find out what do we understand by what women feel are the risks that are associated with that. And I think it's when alcohol is involved in domestic violence, then the risks to women and children do go up, and then they're more likely.
Then? What is the answer?
what's the answer to what we should be doing about domestic violence? Well, I think we've been doing a tremendous amount. We've been working as organisations very, very well together in order to take action and to be able to reach victims earlier. But I think there's still an awful lot more that needs to be done.
The key is people coming to you, isn't it? Or coming to someone.
It is, but the key is the state and our criminal justice system acting in a way which really holds abusers to account, which takes firm and decisive action. In a way, we need the state and public condemnation of domestic abuse to be at the same sort of point that drink driving is. We need to have a kind of public shame and humiliation of abusers. We need to have a public support and joint responsibility for victims and their children.
Okay,
and we need to take really decisive action.
All right, we need to leave it there. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
What do you think? Should cheap booze offers be banned during the World Cup, or forever for that matter? Let us know your thoughts. You can email us, the address midlandstoday@bbc.co.uk, and we'll read some of your comments a little later on.
Well, in a moment on Midland.